Imagine a world where emperors hold absolute power, where rulers reign with an iron fist. Just a wave of their hands or a word from their mouth would mean death to thousands of families. Yes, I know, we still have some despots around planning each day how to destroy millions of lives, but that is for another video. For the meantime, let us stick to the ancient world. In the annals of history, there are those whose names evoke terror and dread, whose deeds are etched in the darkest depths of human memory. From impalements to massacres, from torture chambers to reigns of terror, these emperors wielded their authority with ruthless brutality, leaving a trail of devastation and despair in their wake. Here are the chilling tales of top 5 most ruthless emperors and savage rulers in ancient times. At the bottom of the list emerges Phalaris, the tyrant of Acaragas in Sicily during the 6th century BC. Phalaris wielded his power with ruthless ferocity, sparing no mercy to those who dared to oppose him. His reign was a symphony of terror and agony, orchestrated with sadistic glee. According to Greek historian Diodorus Siculus and the Roman writer Cicero, Phalaris reveled in the screams of his victims, delighting in their pain and suffering. The more they scream or shriek, the more he relishes it. His most diabolical creation, the brazen bull, a chilling testament to his malevolence. It is a hollow device of horror in the form of a bull, where countless souls met their grisly demise. The condemned individuals were roasted alive inside the device similar to a huge oven. Their anguished cries echoing the bellowing of a bull, serving as a macabre music to Phalaris's twisted amusement. Legend tells of the first victim to face the bull's wrath, a fate met by none other than the sculptor who crafted the malevolent device. And in a cruel twist of fate, Phalaris himself would become the final offering to the brazen bull, consumed by the same flames he once wielded with impunity. But Phalaris's depravity had no limits. Amidst the screams and smoke, whispers of even darker deeds emerged, a rumor of cannibalistic feasts where the flesh of innocent babes was said to sate his insatiable appetite for cruelty. Truly, the depths of his madness are beyond comprehension. Next on the list, we confront the architect of terror in ancient China, Emperor Qin Shi Huang, also known as Shi Huangdi. He ascended to power as the very first emperor in China, reigning from 221 BC to 210 BC as he was able to do what other Chinese rulers or warlords failed to do before him for many decades. He unified the warring states and laid the foundation of the country's imperial system. However, in his quest to do all these, he left a trail of brutality and tyranny in his wake. Emperor Qin Shi Huang's rule was characterized by immense suffering, orchestrated through extensive forced labor that built monuments to his insatiable thirst for control, including the Great Wall of China. Remember the thousands of life-size terracotta warriors, acrobats, and officials along with chariots and cavalry horses inside his massive mausoleum discovered in 1974? Well, according to the Chinese historian Sima Qian, beneath the grandeur lay the bones of close to 1 million souls, toiling under harsh conditions and facing certain death in the emperor's relentless pursuit of dominance. His military conquests were campaigns of carnage, marked by brutal tactics and unimaginable devastation. With absolute authority, he demanded total obedience from his subjects, ruling through fear and repression. Dissenters faced the wrath of his merciless regime, with scholars and dissenters buried alive in a chilling display of his power. Emperor Qin Shi Huang's legacy is one of darkness and despair, marred by his callous disregard for human life. While his achievements in unifying China may be lauded, they are overshadowed by the horrors he inflicted upon his subjects, earning him a place among history's most infamous and cruel rulers. Following closely is Emperor Tiberius Julius Caesar Augustus, a figure of both intrigue and dread in the annals of Roman history, ruling from 14 to 37 AD. Initially, he governed his people with moderation. Some historians even claimed that in the early part of his reign, Emperor Tiberius was a competent and fair administrator as he strengthened the Roman Empire and continued the policies of Augustus. He avoided unnecessary wars, was frugal, and the population enjoyed a period of peace and prosperity. But, as the years wore on, shadows crept over his reign, casting him into the depths of cruelty and tyranny. Emperor Tiberius grew increasingly suspicious and his descent into paranoia was swift and merciless. A web of spies ensnared his rivals, while suspicion poisoned the air, leading to political purges. He had many potential heirs killed off for no particular reason. No one was safe. Anyone who displeased him, from servants to high-ranking officials along with their families, were tortured, imprisoned, banished, killed or pushed to commit suicide. Even innocent maidens were brutally assaulted first before executed, as they believed that it was wrong to kill virgins. Fear became the currency of his empire, breeding a climate of treachery and distrust. Unexpectedly, Tiberius retreated from the heart of Rome to the secluded shores of the island of Capri, cloaking himself in secrecy. Tales of debauchery with massive orgies in his villa swirled around him. There was even a story of the emperor while in a remote shore punished a fisherman who offered him a fish by having the imperial guards roughly scrub the fisherman's face with the very fish he so generously offered. Emperor Tiberius' reason was that he was startled by the fisherman's approach. The fisherman then said that he was lucky he did not offer a large crab. Unfortunately, Emperor Tiberius heard it, was insulted, and immediately ordered the imperial guards to torture the fisherman with the claws of a large crab. These inexplicable acts tainted his legacy even more, casting him as both a great emperor and a terrifying monster. Emperor Tiberius's reign stands as an example to the dual nature of power, its capacity to inspire awe and to instill fear. His name is etched in both reverence and revulsion. He died at the age of 77 and was rumored to have been killed by his own adopted son and successor, Caligula. Coming up next on the list is as fearsome as the previous emperor, none other than Emperor Gaius Caesar, better known as Caligula, who reigned from 37 to 41 AD. Aside from the persisting whispers that he was the one who ended his predecessor's life, he gained notoriety in Roman history due to his erratic behavior, megalomania, and cruel treatment of political opponents, including executions and acts of sexual perversion. Sounds familiar? Yes, he did not only inherited the throne but also his uncle's penchant for cruelty and madness. Emperor Caligula ascended to the throne at the age of 25, following a tumultuous family history marred by betrayal and tragedy. His father, a popular general, was poisoned to death by his uncle, Emperor Tiberius, who later adopted him and made him one of his heirs along with a cousin. However, Caligula had been patiently waiting for this golden opportunity for quite some time and made sure that when his uncle died, he was declared the sole heir to the throne. He told everyone with the help of some allies that his uncle was insane and incapable of good judgment when he made the will. Caligula was able to convince everyone and became the next emperor of Rome. His early reign saw acts of benevolence, such as ending treason trials and granting amnesty to the exiled. However, his mental state deteriorated rapidly, leading to unpredictable and cruel behavior. He began to assert his divinity and was said to indulge in incestuous relationships with his sisters, particularly with Drusilla, who at one point during his reign named her his heir. When she died at 31 years old, the emperor mourned her as if he was the actual widower. His activities with his favorite sister scandalized Roman society. As his reign progressed, Caligula's actions became increasingly bizarre and extravagant. While he spent money to fulfill practical construction projects such as harbors and aqueducts, he also constructed grandiose projects, such as a 3-mile floating bridge over the Bay of Naples, using hundreds of merchant boats from Baiae to Puteoli as pontoons. Some believed that he did it to defy a prophecy made by his uncle's astrologer, Thrasyllus. The astrologer was known to have said that Caligula had no more chance of becoming emperor than of riding a horse across the Gulf of Baiae. When the bridge was finished, Emperor Caligula ordered a 2-day grand ceremony to commemorate the occasion. He was said to have worn the breastplate of Alexander the Great and rode his favorite horse across the bridge with some of his soldiers, officials as well as prisoners in tow. He also engaged in symbolic displays of power, like commanding his troops to plunder the sea by collecting shells in their helmets. It was his way of showing everyone that he was also capable of subduing even the elements. Obviously, he was having delusions of grandeur. Even his soldiers couldn't fathom the reasoning behind his imperial orders. He was also known to torture some of his officials by sleeping with their wives and making them run in front of his chariot. There was even a popular story that he appointed his favorite horse, Incitatus, as a consul, and constructed a lavish marble house for him. While some ancient Roman Empire experts doubted certain tales, they persisted through the ages. Caligula's descent into madness was further exacerbated by his excessive spending, leading to financial strain on the empire. Ultimately, his cruelty and mismanagement of funds led to his demise, making him the first Roman emperor to be assassinated. Some scholars theorize that he suffered from a medical condition known as epilepsy, which is characterized by seizures. The lack of proper medical knowledge and treatment available during ancient times may have contributed to his progressive descent into insanity. Despite conflicting interpretations by historians, it is widely agreed that Caligula's reign serves as a cautionary tale of the dangers of unbridled authority and the consequences of mental instability. Last but certainly not least is the formidable conqueror Genghis Khan, the founder and leader of the Mongol Empire. Renowned for his brilliant military strategies, he unified Mongolia and expanded his empire through conquests that stretched from Asia to the Adriatic Sea. Genghis Khan tops the list of history's most brutal rulers due to his extreme cruelty during his relentless campaigns, which covered much of the known world at that time. Born around 1162 as Temujin in the Khainskyi Mountains of Mongolia, Genghis Khan faced adversity early in life. Following his father's death when he was just 9 years old, he and his mother were cast out of their village. Despite initial descriptions of him as weak and fearful, he matured into a charismatic leader who could rally allies and forge a powerful army. The scale and impact of Genghis Khan's military campaigns were staggering, with some historians estimating that around 40 million people perished under his rule. His conquests are among the deadliest armed conflicts in history, characterized by widespread slaughter and destruction. When his army targeted villages, they slaughter en masse. One notorious example of his brutality was the military campaign against Khwarezmia from 1219 to 1221. Sparked by a misunderstanding, the Khan's forces attacked the region and they slaughtered to the last man, woman, and child. It was his way of crushing any resistance and instill terror, leaving no survivors. The Khan was also known for his one chance only to surrender policy during the times when he decided he doesn't need to kill anyone. One of the infamous tales that went around through the ages happened during the siege of Nishapur, modern-day Iran, in 1221. One of his son-in-laws was killed at the time when the city was supposed to have surrendered already but decided to revolt at the last minute when the Mongolian army was in the process of retreating. His daughter was quite furious when she learned of his husband's death and requested his father to kill everyone in the city and make sure to behead each one of them and have the skulls piled up to build a pyramid. Genghis Khan granted his daughter's request. At that time, the city of Nishapur was believed to have a population of 1.75 million. Similar atrocities were inflicted upon countless other regions and cities throughout the 13th century. Genghis Khan gave his army the license to slaughter, pillage, and destroy anything or anyone in their path to achieve his goal. He was known to employ the scorched earth strategies when laying claim to specific lands. The Mongolian army burned villages, livestock, and farmlands to cripple resistance and leave survivors destitute. The sight of severed heads strewn in their wake were meant to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies and serve as a warning to potential foes. Chinese historians recount the brutal subjugation of the Jin dynasty, which started in 1211 and ended in 1234, where people of the Jin dynasty of northern China heavily suffered under Genghis Khan's onslaught. Cities like Zhengdu, modern-day Beijing, were subjected to mass slaughter, with thousands of civilians killed, and captured officials met grisly public executions such as being crushed under the hooves of horses. Despite his legacy as a masterful military strategist and empire builder, Genghis Khan's ruthless savagery stains his reputation. History remembers him as a despotic and vicious ruler, his name forever synonymous with cruelty and tyranny. There you have it, history's top 5 most ruthless emperors and savage rulers in ancient times. Despite conflicting versions by historians on the specifics of their brutality, it is a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the atrocities that can be committed in the name of maintaining control and progress. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below. See you on my next video.